Good evening and welcome to the September meeting of the Haverford Township Board of Commissioners. Ms. Cumberson, would you please call the roll?
Mr. D'Amelio.
Here.
Mr. Oliva.
Here.
Mr. McCluskey.
Here.
Mr. Siegel.
Here.
Mr. McCabe.
Here.
Mr. Holmes.
Here.
Mr. Wexler.
Here.
Mr. Quinn.
Here.
Dr. Hart.
Here. Chief Viola, would you please lead us in the pledge? Chief. The next item on the agenda is the citizen forum. This is for registered speakers and speakers on agenda items only. We have a registered speaker.
Mr. Chad Brooks.
I know you have a busy agenda. I'll try and go through quickly. I was asked by Brian to talk about Haverford Township Day, and I have brought a prop with me. I know none of the members here, if I'm correct, were on the board in 2001, but this was the race shirt from 2001. And although the rec department has done a great job, the shirts are always fantastic and always connected with the theme of the day. But this has always been one of my favorites. You can see the runners are the stars. And the reason I bring this up is that we celebrated and recognized the heroes of September 11th on Saturday. And there was a big debate in 2001. Should we go on? Is it proper to have a celebration in view of what had happened? And it went on for a while discussing whether we should do it or not. And the consensus at the end of the day was, yes, an affirmation of community is exactly what people need. They want to feel celebrated. They want to feel with other people, and they want to celebrate. And that decision was confirmed to me when a month later I ran the New York Marathon, and the New Yorkers were so welcoming and so glad they were there, and so glad that that event went on. So I bring that up because right now we're struggling with the same thing, right? With COVID, we're all in here with masks on, and we're deciding what to do. But the decision has been made that we can safely put on an event for October 2nd. And so that's what we're going to do. We'll make proper responses. We'll have safeguards in place. We've made some adjustments both to the parade and to the vendors. And I'll go through what we're going to do on that. A lot of people don't realize that every Haverford Township Day has a theme. And the themes have always been important to the consensus of what the community is going through at the time. And the theme for this year is celebrating civic involvement. And that became out of the loss that you suffered in the spring with the loss of Commissioner Lewis. I know all of you must be hurting. It must really be a great void. So the decision was maybe we want to recognize that, and we want to recognize it because he chose to do something, to get himself involved. He made important contributions that you're going to recognize October 24th to this community. And celebrating civic involvement just seemed the right thing to do. I looked at all your biographies before I came in tonight, and the fact that you're here, that you come to these meetings, that you work so hard for your constituents, is exactly what we're talking about with civic involvement. All the different committees, all the boards, all the contributions people make to parks and recreation, to Little League, that's what we're gearing in on. So we want to celebrate that as a testimony to Commissioner Lewis. And we are going to recognize him throughout the day. The parade marshals this year, we selected the Young Warriors. Just as I came in tonight, I saw Dr. Lawana's office, the green light on. And the green light is those young warriors, the young people fighting cancer, defeating cancer. And young people started that campaign. If you go through Haverford at night, there's full green lights. A friend of mine said, boy, you really have a lot of Eagles fans in this town. I said, no, it's not Eagles fans. It's something even more special. So there, as you know, we have the usual things. We have nonprofits, and because we're talking about civic involvement, I want the public really this year to visit the nonprofits and see what they're about. We will have a parade. We have the usual vendors in the flea market and the craft that have been tweaked a little bit to take into circumstances, and there will be, Chris Connell is organizing some food vendors. Again, trying to get social distance into it. There will be entertainment on 3 stages, as there has been in previous years. The first event of the day is my favorite, of course, the Haverford Township 5K. It is this year dedicated, the funds that are raised by that 5K are dedicated to the Scholarship Fund for Civic Engagement Leadership for young people. This will be a legacy for Commissioner Lewis. It is the scholarship is not just for college funds, but for young people that may want to go to a leadership conference or to some kind of special training in their field. So we're going to look at that, and this is seed money. Obviously, it'll be a long process to develop the fund over the years, but we have independents who are going to manage it. Won't be managed by the township, and I think it'll be a great thing, a great legacy for his memory. So that is my push for Haverford Township Day. I hope I'll see you all there, and that you will enjoy the day, and that you all can be with us. I do want to put my other hat on. Last year was hard on the Friends of the Grange. We lost the whole season, our most profitable season, but we are attempting to come back and do events this year. The fall open house is Sunday, October 10th from 1 to 4. There's pumpkin painting, scarecrow making, and tours of the mansion. And I tell you, if you haven't seen it, I think Commissioner McCluskey's been there. The scarecrows are really, really fun. The families really enjoy it. We ask that the families bring clothing with them, but we provide the hay, we provide the stockings, we provide the things that they can make a face. And you cannot believe how creative people are. It is really, really a fun event. And then the little kids love doing the pumpkins. They'll come home covered with paint, but they love doing the pumpkins. The house will be open right before we begin to close it down for the Christmas thing. And if you haven't been to the Grange in a couple years, I strongly recommend you come and see it. They have done a fantastic job to get that Victorian ambiance, to really feel like people live there. The house has been beautifully done. They've made a lot of repairs. Really, really, guys, come and see it. Come and enjoy it. Now, the other part of it, of course, is Winterfest. Winterfest is the start of the Christmas season. That's November 27th. That's the Saturday after Thanksgiving. The trains will be running. The mansion's decorated. And we were very fortunate this summer, Christmas in July, Santa Claus came to the Grange. He interrupted his vacation, his Hawaiian vacation. He came to the Grange. Santa Claus is going to come back for Winterfest. He's going to read to the children. There'll be hot chocolate and there'll be a story time. The shop will be open. There'll be things to buy. There'll be food. It's a great start to the season. And again, if you haven't been at the Grange at Christmas time, please come and see it. And I don't think you'll be disappointed. So thank you for your time. I know you have a busy schedule.
Thank you, John. Next item on the agenda is the appointment of a Haverford Township entry-level police officer.
The police department still has one opening has not been filled. Therefore, I'm going to read from the certified list that the board approved on August the 9th. And then, of course, the board will engage in a formal vote. So the 3 names would be, number 1 would be Michael Brennan, Curtis Minor, and Craig Bruno.
Motion to accept the list.
Make a motion to
The list
accept
is
the
already
list.
accepted, so
The list has been accepted as of August
just have to make an
the
appointment.
9th.
So out of the 3, you
Just
just,
have to make an appointment, yes.
okay. I make a motion to, that we appoint or hire Michael Brennan.
Second.
Have a motion? Would you call the roll?
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mr. Oliva.
Yes.
Mr. McCluskey.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. McCabe.
I will abstain based upon my role in the Civil Service Commission.
Mr. Holmes.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes.
And Dr. Hart.
Yes. Congratulations.
Commissioners, if you remember, I think it was last month, we had voted on the number of officers we were going to hire. One of them withdrew. He decided to stay in Philadelphia. So this is why we went back to the list again and hired Michael. So Michael, come on up, please. So Michael Brennan has been a Philadelphia police officer since 2014 and is hired to the 19th District. He's 29 years old and is a resident of South Philly. Michael is a graduate of Rosemont College, where he earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Michael is here tonight with his girlfriend, Cynthia Uba. Cynthia? So, congratulations. I'll let you get out of the line.
Congratulations.
I'm sorry, Chad. No, I'm sorry, I hit you up. So Michael had to give his notice to his previous employer, so we'll have a swearing-in ceremony when he is finished in Philadelphia. So, Commissioners, once again, thank you for supporting the police department.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, guys.
Nice to meet everybody. Take
All
care.
right, good night.
Nice seeing you. You in South Philly too? Yes. All right.
How could you tell?
Excuse me?
Said, how could you tell? Her accent.
I couldn't tell.
Her accent.
Yeah, I couldn't tell.
She said, didn't hear that?
No.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is Commissioners Committee update. Commissioner, do you have?
Mr. President, just a report on a couple
I
of
don't
Finance
talk about it.
Committee developments.
Okay, for you guys to say something like that, it's amazing.
Are you done, Commissioner D'Amelio?
Yeah, I'm done. Go ahead.
In August, our board approved the 2021 refunding bond issue for the 2016 general obligation bonds. I'm happy to report that those bonds were auctioned on August 10th. 4 separate underwriting syndicates placed 21 competitive bids for the bonds during the auction. After 7 extensions of time, the winning bid was placed by FHN Financial out of Tennessee, with a true interest cost to the township of just under 1.9%. That may be the lowest bonds that I can ever recall in my lifetime here. The resulting bid saved the township approximately $850,000, and that's net of all costs of issuance, or approximately 10% of the entire refunded principal. Formal closing is scheduled 2 days from now, and the township does wish to thank its excellent financing team, Jamie Schlesinger of PFM Financial Advisors and Bill Richter of Reed Smith, for their guidance and their expertise. And congratulations to our finance director and everybody in that department for doing everything necessary to make those bonds happen. Also, we have to report on the Back to Business grants that the township publicized in the summer. Round 1 opened on September 1st. To date, we have received 37 applications from Haverford businesses. This is a reminder to all business owners to look into the program, which provides $2,500 grants to eligible Haverford Township businesses, and that includes not-for-profit entities. The eligibility criteria can be found on the township website under our current news. The first round will close on September 30th, and round 2 will open immediately after all the round one applications are processed. That is all I have to report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Commissioner Wexler, do you want to?
Yes. Present the monthly Bureau of Fire report. The Haverford Township Bureau of Fire responded to 93 incidents in the month of August 2021. The membership response total for members responding to these calls was 917 members. Weekly combined training hours was 674 hours. All 5 companies participated and attended the National Night Out with the police and EMS departments. There are currently 10 members of the Bureau of Fire that are attending vehicle rescue training. There are 6 members in Firefighter 1 programs and 6 members in the Swiftwater Rescue Technician program. And that's the report for the month of August.
Thank you. Commissioner D'Amelio.
Yeah, I sat over here because I didn't think I'd have to talk to them. The poster is on the website, so the link is included on there, or they can email complan@havtwp, abbreviation for Haverford, abbreviation for township.org, and I'd be happy to send them a link through that email address.
Thank you. There are certain questions, if you look at the website, ladies and gentlemen, there are certain questions that might be of interest to you. I'll just read a few of them. What should be done to revitalize older commercial areas? What type of housing should be encouraged in various areas? How can we make Haverford more pedestrian and bicycle friendly? Things like that. So you may want to take a look at that and participate or view the virtual meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners with updates?
That doesn't sound fully well.
Next item on the agenda, Chief Viola, the
Nothing.
crime update.
Thank you, Commissioner. The Police Department report for the month of August, we had 15 criminal arrests, 119 traffic citations, 10 non-traffic citations, 82 written warnings, and 472 parking tickets. We had 1 burglary and 1 aggravated assault, 1 sex offense. Attempted homicide on August the 13th at 2200 hours, Wynwood Lanes, an actor suspect did attempt to shoot his ex-girlfriend in the parking lot. Police and medics responded and treated the female for a graze wound. The suspect was arrested by the U.S. Marshals on 8/25. He's currently in Delaware County Prison after failing to post bail. On August the 9th, we had a sex offense from the uniblock of Treaty Road, indecent exposure via the internet. Adult male exposed himself to a minor through a phone application. It appears that the actor resides overseas. Investigation is ongoing, but it'll be difficult to prove anything. Burglary at St. Faith School. It appears that juveniles got into school and just did some minor damage and got into the freezer and got popsicles out. Had a motor vehicle theft, 2900 block of Rising Sun. Stolen vehicle from Township Line at U-Haul. Windsor Park Lane vehicle stolen, taken from the driveway, last seen on August the 7th. Another one at 8 East Mercer Avenue. We had the newest scam going on out there is the motor vehicle catalytic converter thefts. We had 2 taken from St. Mary's, 2 from Coles, 1 from Lorraine Street, and 1 from 400 Glendale Road. So it rather locked up 2 people the night for Rising Sun, or St. Mary's, I'm sorry, brought them down, brought the suspect down. He said he didn't do any catalytic converter thefts in our township and did ones other places, and he was arrested for that for Radnor. But he did give up some names, and it appears that, as I told Commissioner before, that there's probably a group of 50 out there that we are aware of in the area, and we're working with Philadelphia and the surrounding police departments. It happens in the middle of the night. It takes about 5 minutes to take a converter off, saws all, they cut them off, and they're on the way. Most of them happen on foreign cars. It's our understanding that foreign cars, the catalytic converters are worth more money for whatever they're made out of. So it is a huge problem, but we are working with Philadelphia and the surrounding communities to try and make some more arrests on this. That is our report.
Chief,
Yes.
if I, also, it's also the trend that these happen on the street and not in people's driveways.
That's correct, Commissioner. It happens usually on the street. They usually don't go up driveways. It's easy. You'll from videos that we've obtained of a vehicle, another vehicle go down the street. Person will just jump out, roll underneath the car, cut them out. The other vehicle come back in and jump right in. Only a matter of 5 or 6 minutes and they're gone. So it is a huge problem, worth a lot of money. But as the issue we've had with the vehicles being entered, we lock up 2, there's 15 more waiting in the wings to do that. Anytime there's a theft or an opportunity like that to make a couple of bucks, somebody's going to figure it out. So, it's difficult. People don't know what happens. They get in the car, they start it up, it doesn't sound right, and before you know it, they got a large bill in their hands to get it replaced.
Chief, I have a quick question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Haverford Township, especially the Fifth Ward, has seen just a dramatic increase in traffic due to some of the road work, Pico and Aqua. We see it coming through neighborhoods where there's just an increased number of cars, reports of speeding, people rolling through stop signs or not stopping at all. And now with school starting up, can you just tell me a little about what we can do maybe to sort of help with some of that, either congestion and the speeding?
Well, Commissioner, as you know, with the closing of Darby Road for an extended period of time, it's been postponed twice. Now it's till the end of October, and my guess it's going to be longer than that. They're having some sort of drilling problems out there. So it's pushing all that traffic onto those streets off of Darby Road, and people have found, as they usually do when there's a detour, they have found these cut-throughs. This has increased traffic dramatically in that area. So we have special patrols up there. Where I have officers up there in unmarked cars watching the stop signs. We're going to meet with the residents up there, I think on Wednesday or so, to have a discussion and see what else we can do for them. We understand their problems. We'll do our best, but like anything else, they're public streets, and when you're driving on public streets, there's not a lot we can do. Once you have an increased traffic, we can't stop it. We can only attempt to control the speeding, and it goes back to we don't have radar. We have to get people 10 miles an hour over the speed limit before we can stop them. And usually those back streets are not doing 35, 40, or 50 miles an hour. They are probably going a little bit over the speed limit. And the perception is when somebody's walking down the street, they see a car, they think it's speeding because the perception is it is going fast. But in fact, there's nothing that we can enforce on that. Along that line, as I think all the commissioners know, for the past 2 years, we've been updating the traffic signs in the township as a program. We try to get a handle on it. The 15-mile-an-hour signs that are illegal that have been placed there from years and years ago. There's some with ordinances that are totally unenforceable because they're illegal ordinances. It's got to be 25 miles an hour on a secondary road, except if it's a school zone. So we're also working on that to remove those 15-mile-an-hour signs so the residents see it's truly 25 and not 15, and they think that person is actually, doing 35 or 40 over the speed limit when in fact they're not. So it's once again a perception thing, but something that's going to take a long time. But the Public Works Department has been working hard at it. I spoke to Dan Mariani again today, and they just ordered more signs. So we're continually updating those signs as we move forward in all the wards.
Chief,
Yes.
as you know, I've told you several times in a couple of weeks regarding the lights on Westchester Pike. And
Yes.
the issues surrounding those new timers.
Yes, Commissioner.
It's been brutal.
Yes.
Can you give us an update?
Yes, I certainly can. On the weekend, Labor Day weekend, we had the traffic light people out 5 times on Saturday night, Sunday morning. The light kept on malfunctioning. It would go to red, it would flash. We put it back on, got it working again. It would kick off. The maintenance man would come out, the tech would come out and repair it or make an attempt to repair it, and they'd go off again. We've had problems with that rhythm system, which has been unbelievably difficult to work with. I don't know if anybody's noticed the extreme traffic eastbound and westbound from Manoa Road down to 476 and the opposite way from 476 to Eagle Road. Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock, it was backed up past Manoa Road. It's a traffic light problem. I fired off an email today to Panoni Associates because they have somebody working with PennDOT and told them we've reached our limit. I'm tired of it. Something has to be done.
When it works,
When it works, it works.
fantastic.
I agree.
When it works, it works.
It worked great, and then all of a sudden.
Agree. But we can't have these sporadic, you know.
Oh, John.
But I don't understand it. I mean, how can they not, I'm sorry. I don't understand it. How can they not fix it? I mean, it's not rocket science. It's
Well, but the
the
problem is
timer.
we have 2 or 3 different vendors who have installed these lights, who installed one system
The
and somebody
state,
else who
and then
maintains
this
the other
is the state
system.
that-
It was all state project. It was supposed to start, I think, from 69th Street and go up to Westchester to allow that traffic flow. This has been on the books now for 3 or 4 years. We've been meeting with PennDOT and different vendors. They finally implemented it about, I guess, 2 years now. It still hasn't been fully approved by PennDOT because of the problems. And you gotta have to understand that if PennDOT approves the system, that means we're on the hook for it, for any repairs. So, 5 times for our traffic light people to come out, and we have to monitor these bills closely. So I've also spoken to the township manager in Marple. He's also discussed it. He's got the same system up there. So our plan is to have a meeting with PennDOT this week and tell them we just either got to shut them off or somebody's got to fix it.
If this doesn't work, can we talk to our state senator and please get our state
Listen,
senator involved? Because what it's doing is it's just unacceptable.
No, I agree.
And-
I agree,
I got
Commissioner.
stuck at that light at Westchester Pike at the shopping center.
Yes.
The light turned red and it stayed red.
Yep, you're 100% right.
Yeah, it was just red for,
I have to have officers sit there and monitor that traffic, and over that weekend, we had officers directing traffic. It was so bad that they had put stop signs out, and they got busy. We had a rollover accident there at 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning, because somebody, made a left turn when they had a flashing light, thinking they were clear, and luckily, no one was hurt seriously.
So I
But
understand this correctly. What's the next step?
The next-
Tony Associates is going to contact the vendor?
Well, contacting the vendors doesn't do any good. We've been at that, and all they accuse us of pointing fingers at them, which it's not true. We're on our wits' end, believe me.
Well, I think we're beyond that. I think we should get the state senator.
Do we just call our state reps every day, tell
I would
everybody
suggest
in the
coming
township?
from the political leaders.
We need to do
yes.
something about this, because if they're saying we're pointing a finger at them, when we have evidence and fact that it's not working, and it hasn't been working, then somebody needs to put pressure on PennDOT.
Well-
Or the vendor.
We're going to set up a meeting this week with Paul Lutz, who's in charge of the program, not in charge of the program, he inherited the program. He fully understands our issues, and hopefully we can have that discussion and make some headway. But I will hopefully, once I find out more information, everybody will get an email. I kept you updated on what's going on there. But it's a problem, so. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the township auditor update. Mr. Anderson. No green
Yeah,
tie
so on a related note, working in Westchester, my wife wonders why I don't like to drive to work, and there you go. First, I want to say congratulations, although he left already, but I want to say congratulations to Officer Brennan, and I wish the best of luck to him. I also want to say review the warrants and expenditures for this meeting. I found no irregularities, and all my questions were answered to my satisfaction. And I also want to say those darn Phils are back down to earth, Connor. But at least the Eagles seem to be flying high for a week. I don't know what's going on anymore. So.
Thank you. Item number 8, approval of minutes.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion, we approve the regular meeting minutes of August 9th, 2021.
Have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Quinn. Please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mr. Oliva.
yes.
Mr. McCluskey.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. McCabe.
Yes.
Mr. Holmes.
Because I was not there, I'm going to abstain.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes.
And Dr. Hart?
Yes. Item number 9, approval of warrants.
Mr. President. President, I move we approve warrant number 9 of 2021 totaling $3,584,704.53, comprising the general and sewer fund payroll for August 19th, 2021 in the amount of $738,803.59, the general and sewer fund payroll for September 2nd, 2021 in the amount of $657,588.40, general fund disbursements number 9 of 2021 in the amount of $1,425,409.13. Sewer fund disbursement number 9 of 2021 in the amount of $495,094.39. Community Development Block Grant Fund disbursement number 9 of 2021 in the amount of $38,028.56. Capital Projects Fund disbursement number 9 of 2021 in the amount of $213,589.65, postage meter refill in the amount of $4,000, and a credit card statement ending August 27, 2021 in the amount of $12,190.81.
Second by Commissioner Wexler. Ms. Cuthbert, please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio?
You just stepped out.
Mr. Oliva?
Yes.
Mr. McCluskey?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Mr. McCabe?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes.
Dr. Hart?
Yes. Item number 10, 2022 minimum municipal obligation.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. Holmes.
Mr. President, I move we accept and certify the 2022 minimum municipal pension obligations for the police and non-uniform defined benefit plans and the non-uniform defined contribution plans.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Siegel. Any comments?
Mr. President, this is an annual exercise we go through. Our township, our township finance director receives the minimum municipal obligation calculation from our accountants, from our municipal pension specialists. We have in our agendas 3 separate calculations of the financial requirement minimum municipal obligation budget for the police pension plan, with our minimum municipal obligation at $3,206,075. Our non-uniform pension plan with a minimum municipal obligation of $1,638,542, and our non-uniform defined contribution plan of $96,800. This reflects the amount of money that we are required by the state to fund our obligations under the pension, to stay within the guidelines, to keep it adequately funded. Our funding level is at a strong level, not 100%, but nobody is, but certainly among the higher in the Commonwealth. So I recommend that we adopt, that we accept, and certify the obligations as laid out by our township finance director.
Thank you. Any comments? Would you please call the roll?
Mr. D'Amelio?
You stepped out.
Mr. Oliva?
Yes.
Mr. McCluskey?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Mr. McCabe?
Yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Wexler?
Yes.
Mr. Quinn?
Yes.
And Dr. Hart?
Yes. Item number 11, settlements and stipulation council.
Mr. President, I move we approve the settlement and stipulation of counsel in the following owner-initiated property assessment appeal matters and authorize counsel and proper officers to execute the necessary documents. I will go through all 3, and then we can just vote on it together. Property located at 7 College Avenue, DC, folio number 22-04-00082-00, pending in the Court of Common Pleas, case number CV 2020-009115. Property located at 603 Beechwood Drive, DC, folio number 22-06-00165-00, pending in the Court of Common Pleas at case number 2020-008450. And property located at 350 Harvest Lane, DC, folio number 22-04-00668-00, pending in the Court of Common Pleas, case number 2020-008790.
Seconded by Commissioner Oliva. Please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Since I was out, I'm saying.
Mr. Oliva.
Yes.
Mr. McCluskey.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. McCabe.
Yes.
Mr. Holmes.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes.
And Dr. Hart.
Yes. Item number 12, professional services agreement.
Mr. President, I move we enter in a professional service agreement with Tri-State Financial Group LLC of Bridgeport, Pennsylvania, for eligibility reviews of applications received as part of the Haverford Township Back to Business Phase 1 grant program, funded with monies received as part of the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, at a rate of $25 per application, not to exceed $18,750 in total fees.
Second. Seconded by Commissioner Quinn. Any comments? Ms. Cuthbertson, please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mr. Oliva.
Yes.
Mr. McCluskey.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. McCabe.
Yes.
Mr. Holmes.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes.
Dr. Hart.
Yes. Item number 13, ordinance number P7, 2021, Shade Tree, second reading. Somebody take this?
I'll make the motion to adopt the second reading of ordinance number P7, 2021, further amending and supplementing ordinance number 1510, Chapter 170, adopted March 12, 1973, and amended by ordinance 2508, adopted September 10, 2007, and known as General Laws of the Township of Haverford -trees.
Second. Second. Commissioner Siegel. Any comments? Would you please call the roll?
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mr. Oliva.
Yes.
Mr. McCluskey.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. McCabe.
Yes.
Mr. Holmes.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes.
Dr. Hart.
Yes. Item number 14, ordinance number P15, 2021, Chapter 157, Streets and Sidewalks, second reading.
Reading of ordinance number P15-2021, amending chapter 157, streets and sidewalks.
Second. Seconded by Commissioner Oliva. Any comment? Hopefully this will help with getting the paving done more quickly.
Yep.
Ms. Cuthbertson, please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mr. Oliva.
Yes.
Mr. McCluskey.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. McCabe.
Yes.
Mr. Holmes.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes.
Dr. Hart.
Yes. Item number 15, ordinance number P17, 2021, traffic, second reading.
Mr. President, motion to adopt the second reading of ordinance number P17-2021, authorizing traffic restrictions on the following highways: special purpose parking in front of 700 Buck Lane.
Second. Second by Commissioner Oliva. Please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mr. Oliva.
Yes.
Mr. McCluskey.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. McCabe.
Yes.
Mr. Holmes.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes.
Dr. Hart.
Yes. Item number 16, ordinance number P18, 2021, amendment to cell tower lease. This is the first reading.
Mr. President,
Mr. Siegel.
motion to adopt first reading of ordinance P18, 2021, amending the existing ground lease by and between the Township of Haverford and Unisite OmniPoint PA Tower Venture LLC, formerly known as OmniPoint PA Tower Venture LLC, for the property located at 2325 Darby Road.
There a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner McCloskey.
Can give a little.
Yes. Ms. Cuthbert, you want to fill us in?
Just as a little update to this, as you've seen in recent past, a lot of the cell tower leases that we entered into many years ago, a lot of the carriers cannot withstand them. They were very rich in their terms, fortunately for us, unfortunately for them. But in exchange, this carrier has extended their lease. They have given us a lump sum payment of $10,000 in exchange for reducing their current rent by $250 a month and reducing the escalation clause that was 20% per every renewal term. It will now go to 3%. So as you can see, 20% is not overly sustainable by too many people. So that's why they approached us, and that's why it's before you tonight.
How long is the,
They're 5-year consecutive terms, so they're quite long.
any comments? Can you please call the roll?
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mr. Oliva.
Yes.
Mr. McCluskey.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. McCabe.
Yes.
Mr. Holmes.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
No.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes.
And Dr. Hart.
Yes. Item number 17, resolution number 2231, 2021, support Senate legislation bill 598.
Mr. President?
Mr. Siegel.
Motion to adopt Resolution 2231-2021, resolving the Board of Commissioners advocating for the safety of municipal employees and the safety of township residents. Ask our state representatives and state senator to support legislation such as Senate Bill 598 that would allow municipalities to regulate firearms in and on government property.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mr. Oliva.
Yes.
Mr. McCluskey.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. McCabe.
Yes.
Mr. Holmes.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes.
Dr. Hart.
Yes. Item number 18, resolution number 2232, 2021, Haverford Township Day, State Highway closed.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Oliva.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 2232, 2021, authorizing Chief John Viola to execute any and all documents with PA, DOT, and be responsible for the safety and welfare of residents utilizing state highways on Haverford Township Day, Saturday, October 2nd, 2021.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner D'Amelio. Ms. Cuthbertson, please call the roll.
Mr. D'Amelio.
Yes.
Mr. Oliva.
Yes.
Mr. McCluskey.
Yes.
Mr. Siegel.
Yes.
Mr. McCabe.
Yes.
Mr. Holmes.
Yes.
Mr. Wexler.
Yes.
Mr. Quinn.
Yes.
And Dr. Hart.
Yes. Item number 19 is the continuation of the citizen forum for non-agenda items. Is there anyone who wishes to speak?
Good evening. My name is Sherry Forsty Gropp, and I live at 107 Landaff Road. And I was wondering if you all could give an update, because in addition to all the roads that are closed for construction, we've had a lot of roads ripped up to improve our infrastructure, which I think is a wonderful thing. But we've got a lot of patches all over the place, and I was wondering if you might speak to when we could expect those to be paved over and fixed. Thanks so much.
I think that has to do with the ordinance we just passed that will help out, like seeing one side of the road paved and the other side not. So that's why we passed that at ordinance tonight.
And then typically, it's somewhat dependent. I know in my area, it's when the utility finishes the work in the whole area. So, one street has been done, they're working on 10 streets in the area. So we're somewhat dependent on the utility. When the project's done, then it's paid. So I can't, on specific streets, I'm unable to do that.
Commissioner, I think I can add a little something to that if you like. Is that on? There we go. We all are suffering from that all over the township, believe me, and it causes us problems with traffic, with road closures. But there is a process that these utilities have to follow. Once they do the restoration, which means put the new pipes in, they then have to hook up each house individually. Once that's done, they have to test the mains, whether it be water or gas. And then once that's done, they do a temporary patch. That's for so many days. And then there's another patch that goes after that, which is a milling process. By PennDOT rules, Dan, I think it's 30 or 90 days for resurfacing on utility work. 90 days for I'm sorry, 30 days for utility work. So, yeah, so and what the commissioner alluded to, when they do the half paving, depending on how much, maybe, Chuck, maybe you can answer a little more than I can on that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. John's absolutely correct. There is a definitive process with these utility companies. It's pretty much what John explained, and it takes time because, unfortunately, the biggest probably the biggest part of that process is connecting the properties, and that takes some logistics with the residents, obviously, and everything. And then there is a duration where they let things sit and make sure that there's no settlement and everything, and then they come back and do the paving. It's my understanding, and maybe John has some more information on this, they typically try to finish that process, including their part of the paving, before obviously the temperatures get too cold. So usually that's by the end of October, maybe beginning in November, depending on weather and everything. So that you'll probably see a push within the next month and a half, 2 months or so, to try to get in there and do all that work. And fortunately, that work goes relatively quick. It's disruptive, but it goes relatively quick. So hopefully that, you will see that within the next few months. And I think they'll notify the township, obviously, of that. And I guess Mr. Berman or Amy can send out some type of email blast or whatever.
We do get an update from PICO and Aqua subcontractors, and we're just checking now. It appears that some of that paving, not all, it's scheduled to be completed by the end of October. I use that term loosely, scheduled.
Mr. Stiegel.
For residents of Paddock Farms, where it's easier to pick the streets that haven't been dug up, the township's been working with the utilities to arrange a way to pave all of the streets that are affected from curb to curb, even where the utilities were not required to do so. And I know Mr. Berman's been working on that as well.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Not non-agenda, either one.
I understand I'm double dipping, but that's all right. I'm Brian Ramono at 14 North Belfield in Havertown. And it kind of dovetails with what Chief Iola was talking about with traffic and the cut-throughs and what we see in our area a lot. So I want to go back 5 years. 5 years and 6 days ago, my neighbor, Dave Powers, had decided to unretire. He was an attorney down in Philadelphia, had taken mass transit his whole life. Took a job with the school district of Philadelphia, and was the day after Labor Day of 2016, and was heading down the street to go to work. I live on Belfield, down near Township Line. So Dave got to the bottom of the street. I actually didn't even know it was him at first because I'd never seen him in a car. Waved at him. He got to the bottom of the street. Started to make the turn at about 6 o'clock in the morning on the Township Line. A van cutting through our neighborhood cut him off, honked at him. He stopped. As the van passed him, he proceeded another couple of feet. At that point, a pickup truck, a large F-250, I believe it was, or a Dodge Ram, traveling at approximately 100 miles an hour southbound on Route 1 Township Line Road, contacted him on the driver's side. I believe Dave may have survived for 5 to 10 minutes. I had witnessed that from my lawn, 3 houses up from Township Line. I never forget it. It doesn't ever leave my conscience. The day after Labor Day has become a day for me that I shudder. Now we have everybody going back to school. We have people going back to work. We have people just going out because they've been cooped up for a year and a half. I get it. But I see speeding on Township Line. I see speeding on Belfield. I see wanton disregard for the traffic laws. And in some cases, for example, on my street of Belfield, and I wish I'd taken a picture of it, The stop sign as you come down Belfield is about pink right now. It's so old that you can barely see that it's a stop sign. So I will forgive maybe some of the drivers that come down at maybe 30, 35 miles an hour that just go through without even tapping the brakes. But others have looked at me when I give them the shrug, and I usually get the I'm either number one or number two, and you can kind of figure out what that means. This has to stop. We have young children in our neighborhood, and I know the people in the Darby Road neighborhoods are the same thing, and I know that you're going to hear that when you go there next week. We have a second round of young kids. I've been there 19 years. My son is grown up. He's 26 years old now. But now there's a whole generation of younger kids that are playing in that street. I don't want to see a child die first before something happens. It has to stop. And I know there's only so much you can do. You only have so many people that you can put out there. But we got to find a way to make this better, because I fear for not just the kids, but somebody. Mrs. Powers still isn't the same. I'm not the same. I don't want anybody else to feel like I felt that day, or 5 years later, or 50 years later. So hopefully we can find something to do on some of these cut-through streets that we all know are there. People are in a hurry. They don't want to stay at a light. So they go through and down, and they think, oh, it's downhill, it's fine, who's going to know? I know. I see it. People see it. Hopefully we can see it stop. And hopefully people at home will just realize, you're in a neighborhood, please think about what you're doing. That extra 30 seconds that you're going to gain by going 50 miles an hour down somebody's street isn't worth it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner, we had 50 new stop signs delivered on Friday. We'll have that replaced tomorrow. It's at Belfield and where?
Belfield and Rodman.
Okay, be taken care of tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of the people doing the cut-through live in our township, so, the enemy is us. And so everybody has to take that to heart.
I mean, it's another case, since this is the ninth ward, this is another case where I advise all of residents, contact your state representative, your state senator. We need radar. We need to give our police officers the tools to do that enforcement. That was a horrific week. There were 2 fatalities on that township line stretch the same week.
Same day.
So, we reacted. As you know, the traffic calming measures have been put on township line, the center lane turns, motion sensors that give you your speed when you're progressing down township line. But again, everybody speeds. Township line between Edmonds and Drexel Line Shopping Center, people routinely do 60 to 65 miles an hour as the normal flow of traffic through the Pilgrim Garden section, children walking across the street to St. Dorothy's, kids going to the swimming pool to Ronomick at the Pilgrim Garden Shopping Center, and people crossing and turning to the Dunkin' Donuts. It's horrific. We have to give our officers the tools to do that. Please write your state senator, your state representative. Any influence you can at state level, please help us. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 20, new business. Any new business? Item number 21, other business. Commissioner D'Amelio.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to explain why I was angry after the hiring of Officer Brennan. As many of you may know, I am a native of South Philadelphia, and South Philadelphia is a melting pot of different nationalities. And I'm proud to be in South Philadelphia, and I still have many friends and family that live in South Philadelphia. Immediately after the hiring of Officer Brennan, when he was leaving with his family, as you could tell, I was very excited and proud that we hired in South Philadelphia. When his family was leaving, I asked them if they were indeed also from South Philadelphia, and one of the women said, "Yes, we are." She said that very proudly. Commissioner McCluskey then made a comment like, "Can't you tell?" I found it very insensitive. I found it insulting. I saw the look on this woman's face, and I felt that she was humiliated by that comment. We're talking about an era of sensitivity and inclusion. That was wrong. You owe the people of South Philadelphia an apology. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I was angry. So if you heard me making comments or you heard me banging some things, yeah, I was angry. You're not going to apologize?
I was waiting for you to be
I'm
done.
finished.
Okay. Commissioner D'Amelio, you took offense to what I said. I sincerely apologize, and I will apologize to Officer Brennan's family if they took offense. I have an accent. I believe I have a Philadelphia accent. I say water, I say horrible. I am proud of my Philadelphia accent. I certainly meant no offense to anybody from South Philadelphia, to you, to Officer Brennan or his family, and I'm happy to apologize to you and to them if it's appropriate. And I will reach out to Chief Viola to make sure that happens.
It is appropriate.
Okay. Want to remind everybody, Haverford Township Day is coming October 2nd. It's a great day for this community, with everybody being stuck inside and COVID, all that sort of stuff. It's really good to see people out and moving around. This weekend, I don't know if any of you made it to the First Responders Festival. That was well attended. It was a good time, and it was good to see people out walking around and having a good time. And thanks to Tom Kelly, to our first responders. What a great job with the whole thing. And I want to remind everyone on October 24th, we'll be having a memorial up at Haverford Reserve for Andy Lewis. That memorial will have the naming of the park will now be called Andy Lewis Community Park. There'll be a ceremony for that, a tree planting, and we'll be having some lunch. So if you go out to the website, correct, Brian? Go out to the website and sign up so we know how many people would like to have lunch with us. So the family would like to extend in the township the invitation for everybody to come, and I'll talk more about it next month. Thank you very much.
Plosky?
Sure. I'd also just like to express appreciation to Tom Kelly and everybody from Kelly Music for the event that they put on Saturday. It was a terrific event, and I know those that were able to attend were glad to be out and about in town, a public gathering, and it was very nice. So certainly appreciate all they do for the community and what they did on Saturday. As Commissioner D'Amelio said earlier, we are having comprehensive plan meeting nights. We're seeking public comment. The in-person event at the CREC, again, just to reiterate the dates, is September 22nd, and the Zoom meeting will be September 28th. Both events start at 7. There's an open house for the in-person event that starts at 6:30. A lot of people have put a lot of effort in to get us to this point. It's been a long time coming, so I encourage everyone in the community to come out if they can, and certainly to participate via Zoom if they can. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Siegel?
Thank you. I wasn't going to say anything, but I think I will. We are in, at least for those of the Jewish faith, the 10 days of awe, which means that they are 10 days of awesome thought, of atonement, and of hope and optimism for the coming year. And the message of the 10 days of awe is to atone for misdeeds and to make peace with our brothers and sisters and to move on. And I hope we can all do that in the coming year. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner McCabe?
Thank you very much. Just a couple quick things. One is the St. John Newman Saint Stomp will be the Saturday, the 18th. So if you haven't signed up, I think there's still time to do so. I also want to give just a quick thank you to Dan Mariani and the Public Works for all their help with the recent storms and some tree damage and some flooding. They were able to get out and help us out relatively quickly. Also want to say thank you to Chief Viola and Deputy Chief Hagan for their help with the traffic in the area, as we talked about quite a bit tonight. It's been quite taxing on the residents of the Fifth Ward, and we appreciate your efforts. So thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Holmes.
Mr. President, thank you. Mr. President, a family funeral prevented me from being part of our 9/11 remembrance this weekend. And the only consolation of traveling through New England to this funeral that day and not being here was that I actually had the experience of going through maybe 4 or 5 other small towns, each doing their own event to commemorate the events of that day, the sacrifice of the people who sacrificed their lives to help others and the terrible victims of the crimes that day. And it just reminded me that was, while it affected us as a nation, it was all of us town by town and community by community who were all affected and who all came to one another and came together in those weeks after 9/11. And it was a terrible day, but the consequence of it was a unification of our country that we hadn't seen in a long time and we haven't seen in a long time. So I regret not being here, but I did have the benefit of seeing it celebrated in many other small towns, and I understand from everybody who was here that it was a very well presented event, very thoughtful, and I appreciate all the effort that went in to doing it. And just one last thought. I've been on this board 16 years. There've certainly been numerous times in the back of the room or even here at the mic where perhaps I have been flippant or insensitive or maybe downright offensive. And if I ever was, I always apologize, but I certainly didn't mean anything by it. My colleague, Kevin McCluskey, is not an insensitive, offensive guy, and I'm willing to take his word for what he just said. And I regret that he got called out the way he did because I think it was unfair. And just want you to know, Kevin, that I don't think you meant anything by it.
I can't hear you, Larry. I'm sorry because of the fan.
I don't think Kevin meant anything by it, and I stand
You
by
don't
Kevin.
think that's insensitive? That's
All right.
Nice.
Commissioner Wexler.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 2 thank yous and 1 announcement. I'd like to thank, although our township was spared most of the ravages of Hurricane Ida, we did send, I'd like to thank our fire, EMS, and police departments for lending support to neighboring communities. I think Chief Viola led a task force out of the town. Several of our fire companies went to other districts and other areas to make water rescues and assist other fire departments that were truly, truly busy in our area. So thank you to our emergency services, which includes fire, EMS, and our police department. I think we're certainly proud of all that they did. Second one, I'd like to thank Mr. Brooks for his dedication, not only to Haverford Township Day, but also to the Grange, and echo his support that visited over the holidays. It's probably the best, least known treasure that we have in this township is the Grange Estate and all the wonderful stuff that goes on there for our children and older people with the decorating, the pumpkins, and especially the Christmas. And then last, my call for volunteers for the Hilltop Civic Association. They meet on September 23rd. As somebody's already mentioned, we are a group of neighborhoods, and our neighborhoods provide, our Civic Association provide all the nice things that we have in each of those neighborhoods, our 4th of July parades, our Halloween parades, our Christmas decorating contest, and on and on and on. So Hilltop Civic Association needs volunteers for the Halloween festivals that they're planning, and their meeting is on September 23rd, which is a Thursday at 7 p.m., and they meet at the Bonaire Fire Company meeting room, hall adjacent to the fire company. And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Quinn.
Okay, I have a few things, and first off is the Bibberley Lake, the ALS basketball war marathon. will take place on October 9th at Bonner. You'd think it'd be easy for me to say it since I'm a grad of that school. But and if you would like to find out more of the info to be a shirt sponsor, go to billylake.com to find out all the info about that day. And also, with the kids being back in school, you see kids crossing, and the crossing guards are all there to help out, and we thank them for that. And the police have done a great job to cover the spot. So thank you to them too. But you see lots of cars start to slam on their horn at you as you're stop there, and that's a thing that I love to just watch them in disgust when they see that they're wrong. And also, one more thing is the First Fest, or two more things. The First Fest was a great day. Thank you to Tom Kelly and his group for all that they all do. And September 11th was probably the worst day in all of our lives. And just seeing, and it's hard to believe it's been that long, but we all know where we were that day. But on September 12th, we saw a divided world like it is now in ways come as one. And my hope is in this politically charged world is that we can all come as one. All of us up here may not agree on things, but we come to the common ground, and we may vote and be mad at each other, but when it comes down to it, we need to stop the divide and stop seeing what people are in their political beliefs and come as one. So thank you.
Thank you. I have a number of updates. Unfortunately, I inadvertently skipped the township manager update. My sincere apologies. By the end of the year, I will get this right, and we'll have a perfect meeting at some point. Number one, the township shredding event, it will be held on October 23rd from 8 to 11 a.m. and that is held right here in our parking lot. We'll have more information on that again next month. A reminder, there's no brush collection on Monday, September 27th. This is so the Public Works employees can attend a safety training session. And then also, as we prepare for 2022, the opportunity to serve on township boards and commissions is upon us. Applications are due no later than November 12th at 4 p.m. There's information on the township website, or you can call the township manager's office for information. And I will also put in a plug again for the comprehensive plan workshops. Please attend. This is something 30 years overdue. We want to get as many people from the community to comment on it. This will not be your last opportunity. What comes from this is the steering committee takes these comments, comes up with recommendations, which will eventually go to the planning commission, who will have hearings. Again, an opportunity for public comment. From there, it will come back to the Board of Commissioners to adopt, again, the final opportunity for public comment. So get involved now and stay involved. I have a couple of just notable accomplishments from 8th Ward residents. Alexander Junkfer recently completed a week-long educational program at the Space Academy at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville, Alabama. And David Abrahams won a silver medal in the 100-meter breaststroke at the Paralympics, which were held in Tokyo last month. It's a great accomplishment. He also finished 4th in the men's 200-meter medley. David is a 2019 graduate of Haverford High School who currently attends and swims for Haverford College. So congratulations to David. And that's all I have. If there's a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, everyone.